The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, 1990 to 1996, was more than just a sitcom. It was a cultural phenomenon that brought humor, heart, and unforgettable characters to audiences worldwide. While the show remains a beloved classic, some of the talented actors who made it so special have sadly passed away. In this video, we take a look back at the lives and careers of 39 stars in The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, remembering their iconic roles and the tragic circumstances of their deaths. From beloved main cast members to memorable guest stars, we honor their legacies and the lasting impact they left on fans everywhere. James Avery played Philip Banks in 1990 at age 45, bringing to life the firm yet loving patriarch known as Uncle Phil. His character was a symbol of strength, discipline, and deep compassion, often serving as a moral compass for Will and his family. Avery, despite his talent, struggled to break free from the Uncle Phil image after The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air ended, facing typecasting that limited his career. His personal life was stable on the surface. He was married to Barbara Avery for over 2 decades, but the couple had no children, something he reportedly regretted deeply. Health issues haunted him, with diabetes and heart problems worsening in his later years. In 2013, he underwent open-heart surgery, a procedure that led to unexpected complications. He passed away on December 31, 2013, at age 68 due to these complications. Though loved by fans, his final years were marked by declining health and the frustration of being unable to reclaim his former success. Sherman Hemsley played Judge Carl Robertson in 1992 at age 54, portraying a tough, no-nonsense judge who often clashed with Uncle Phil. Best known for The Jeffersons, Hemsley was once a television icon, but his career declined sharply after his peak years. He never married or had children, and his personal life was shrouded in mystery, with speculation about estranged relatives and undisclosed relationships. His later years were marked by loneliness, as he withdrew from Hollywood and lived in relative seclusion. Financial troubles plagued him, and when he passed away on July 24, 2012, at age 74 from superior vena cava syndrome, a legal battle erupted over his estate. A distant relative claimed rights to his inheritance, sparking a bitter court fight that further tainted his legacy. Though he brought joy to millions, his own life ended in solitude and legal turmoil. Virginia Capers portrayed Hattie Banks in 1990 at age 65, embodying the warm, nurturing grandmother who provided wisdom and comfort to the Banks family. A Tony Award-winning actress, she had a long but underappreciated career, frequently cast in minor supporting roles. Her personal life, however, was filled with devastating loss. She married young but became a widow early in life, left to raise her only son alone. Tragedy struck again when her son was killed in a car accident in his 20s, leaving her utterly heartbroken. This loss cast a shadow over her later years, contributing to long periods of depression. Though she remained active in theater, financial struggles and declining health forced her to slow down. In her final years, she battled arthritis and severe respiratory issues, making even daily activities painful. She passed away on May 6, 2004, at age 78 from complications of pneumonia, spending her last days in relative obscurity despite a lifetime of remarkable talent. Helen Page Camp played Margaret Firth in 1990 at age 60, portraying a quirky and endearing character who brought warmth to the screen. A veteran actress, she worked in Hollywood for decades but was often typecast in forgettable roles, never achieving mainstream recognition. Her personal life was filled with sorrow. Her only daughter, who struggled with severe mental illness, died by suicide, an event that left Camp emotionally shattered. The loss consumed her, and she withdrew from both the entertainment industry and social life. Her own health declined rapidly as she suffered a series of strokes, leaving her frail and dependent on caregivers. By the time she suffered her final stroke, she had few close friends or family left to support her. She passed away on August 1, 1991, at age 60, her final years marked by heartbreak, isolation, and a painful decline from the industry she had dedicated her life to. Zsa Zsa Gabor played Sonia Lammert in The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air in 1991 at the age of 74. Her character was an aging Hollywood diva, which mirrored her real life, as she was once one of the most glamorous socialites in the world. Gabor's life, however, was far from the fairy tale she often portrayed. She married 9 times, with nearly all her relationships ending in scandal, bitter legal battles, and financial ruin. She was arrested multiple times, embroiled in lawsuits, and suffered from an infamous car accident that left her with lasting injuries. Later in life, tragedy struck again when she had a massive stroke, which led to severe complications, including an amputation of her right leg. Her once glamorous lifestyle crumbled as she became bedridden, unable to enjoy the wealth and luxury she had once flaunted. In her final years, she was rarely seen in public, a stark contrast to her previous life as a socialite. She passed away on December 18, 2016, at the age of 99 from a heart attack. John Amos played Fred Wilkes in The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air in 1994 at the age of 55, embodying a charismatic yet authoritative father figure. While beloved on screen, his career was turbulent. His firing from Good Times due to creative conflicts tainted his reputation, leading to sporadic work and financial instability. Though he landed roles in major productions like Roots, he struggled with being typecast, never achieving the sustained success he craved. His personal life was equally fraught. 2 divorces left him emotionally drained, and his relationships with his children suffered as a result of his demanding career. In his later years, his health deteriorated, and financial troubles forced him to live modestly, far from the Hollywood glamour he once knew. In 2024, congestive heart failure claimed his life at 84, leaving behind a legacy that, despite its significance, never earned the recognition he had hoped for. Dick Clark appeared as himself in The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air in 1994 at the age of 65, bringing his legendary presence to the show. For decades, he was the face of American Bandstand, symbolizing youth and pop culture. But beneath his ever-present smile lay deep insecurities. His obsession with appearing ageless led to excessive cosmetic procedures, and his relentless ambition cost him 3 marriages. His strained relationships with his children left him regretful in his later years, though he rarely spoke of his loneliness. In 2004, a severe stroke robbed him of his speech, leaving him isolated and struggling to communicate. The once vibrant television icon faded from the public eye, his decline a stark contrast to the dynamic image he had spent a lifetime cultivating. On April 18, 2012, he suffered a fatal heart attack at 82, his final years marked by frustration and the cruel passage of time. Hugh Dane portrayed Fred Lomax Jr. in 1991 at the age of 49, his character exuding warmth and an easygoing demeanor that made him a beloved presence on the show. Despite his small role, Dane was a respected character actor, yet his career never brought him the stability or recognition he longed for. While he found work in various supporting roles, he struggled financially, never breaking into the mainstream despite decades in Hollywood. Off-screen, his life was marked by hardship. Divorced and childless, he lived alone, often facing long stretches of unemployment that left him struggling to pay for basic necessities. His declining health in his later years went largely unnoticed by the industry he had dedicated his life to, and when he was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, he faced his illness in near isolation. His passing on May 16, 2018, at the age of 75, was quiet, with few public tributes acknowledging the years he had spent enriching television with his performances. Pat Crawford Brown played Lady in The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air in 1994 at the age of 65. She was a kind and nurturing presence, much like many of the motherly roles she played throughout her long but unremarkable career. Despite appearing in numerous films and television shows, she remained a background character, never reaching true stardom. She married early in life, but her husband passed away, leaving her to navigate the rest of her years alone. She had children, but as they built their own lives, she found herself growing increasingly isolated. As she aged, health problems, including severe arthritis and failing eyesight, made daily life a struggle. Work opportunities became scarce, and she lived modestly, far from the glamour of Hollywood. In her final years, she withdrew from public life, spending her days in quiet solitude. She passed away on July 2, 2019, at the age of 90 from natural causes. Richard Roundtree played Dr. Mumford in The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air in 1990 at the age of 48, portraying a wise and composed mentor figure. Best known for his groundbreaking role in Shaft, he became a cultural icon, but success came with limitations. Hollywood typecast him as the tough detective, rarely offering him the complex roles he longed for. Despite his public image of strength, his personal life was deeply troubled. He endured 2 divorces and struggled to maintain relationships with his children, often prioritizing work over family. Diagnosed with breast cancer in 1993, he fought the disease and survived, but his battle with pancreatic cancer years later proved fatal. In his later years, his contributions to film were largely overshadowed by newer stars, and he passed away on October 24, 2023, at 81, his death a quiet reminder of Hollywood's fleeting loyalty. Macon McCalman portrayed Dr. Baylor in The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air in 1992 at the age of 60. His character was a compassionate doctor, offering wisdom and care, but in reality, McCalman faced a much less stable life. Though he had a long career in Hollywood, he never achieved true fame and was often cast in minor, forgettable roles. A deeply private man, he never married and had no children, spending much of his life in solitude. Despite working steadily, financial difficulties forced him to continue acting well into his later years. His life took a devastating turn when he suffered a series of strokes, leaving him partially paralyzed and dependent on others for care. With no immediate family to support him, he relied on assisted living facilities, where he spent his final years in a state of declining health and loneliness. He passed away on November 29, 2005, at the age of 72 due to complications from multiple strokes. Quincy Jones played himself in The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air in 1990 at the age of 57, adding his musical prestige to the show. A legendary producer, he shaped the sound of generations, yet his personal life was far from harmonious. His relentless drive led to 3 failed marriages, numerous affairs, and children who often felt neglected by their father's career-first mentality. Though celebrated for his brilliance, he suffered from deep loneliness, unable to sustain meaningful personal connections. Health issues plagued him in his later years. Diabetes and heart problems gradually weakened him, and pancreatic cancer eventually took hold. Despite his towering influence on music, his final years were spent battling illness and solitude. On November 3, 2024, he died at 91, his legacy secure, yet his personal life marked by a profound sense of what could have been. Isabel Sanford played Louise Jefferson in The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air in 1995 at the age of 78. Known for her sharp wit and strong presence, her character was a loving but no-nonsense woman who brought humor and wisdom. Sanford had already made history as the first black woman to win an Emmy for Best Actress for The Jeffersons, but her career declined as Hollywood overlooked older black actresses. Though she was married to William Edward Richmond, the relationship ended in divorce, and she raised her 3 children largely alone while balancing a demanding career. Financial instability plagued her later years as royalties from her most famous role dwindled. She suffered from a series of health issues, including a failing heart, and in her final years, she became wheelchair-bound. Isolated from the industry that once celebrated her, she spent her last days in quiet seclusion. She passed away on July 9, 2004, at the age of 86 due to natural causes. Eric Christmas portrayed Cecil in The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air in 1991 at the age of 75, bringing warmth and wisdom to the character, who often dispensed sage advice. A veteran of stage and screen, Christmas had a long but unglamorous career, mostly known for small roles. Despite his professional longevity, his personal life was marked by heartbreak. His marriage, once stable, crumbled after decades of unspoken resentment, leaving him alone in his final years. His only son severed ties, blaming him for a childhood of neglect, and refused to see him again. Financial difficulties plagued him, forcing him to take minor, forgettable roles just to survive. As he aged, dementia took hold, robbing him of his memories and leaving him isolated in a nursing home. On July 22, 2000, he passed away at 84 from natural causes, his death receiving little attention, his contributions to the industry largely forgotten. Heavy D appeared as himself in The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air in 1990 at 23, bringing his infectious energy and musical prowess to the show. A hip-hop legend, he rose to fame in the late 80s and early 90s, yet fame came at a price. Behind the scenes, he battled deep insecurities about his weight and struggled with self-doubt, often feeling isolated despite his success. His romantic life was troubled. Though he fathered a daughter, he regretted not being a more present father due to the demands of his career. The deaths of close friends like Tupac and Biggie left him shattered, sending him into bouts of depression. His lifelong struggle with obesity took a toll on his health, leading to high blood pressure and breathing issues. On November 8, 2011, he collapsed and died from a pulmonary embolism at just 44. His death was sudden and tragic, cutting short a life that still had so much more to give. Armelia McQueen played Judge in The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air in 1993 at 41, portraying a firm yet fair authority figure. While she exuded confidence on screen, her real life was plagued with struggles. She found early success on Broadway, yet Hollywood never fully embraced her, and roles became scarce as she aged. Financial stress became a constant burden, and as her career stalled, so did her personal happiness. After a short-lived relationship, she became a single mother, raising her son alone with little support. Health problems followed. Diabetes and heart disease worsened due to years of stress and financial hardship. By 2020, her body had endured too much, and she succumbed to a sudden illness on October 3 at 68. Her passing was a painful reminder of how Hollywood often discards talented performers once their moment in the spotlight fades, leaving them to battle their demons alone. Tom O'Rourke played Jameson Whitworth in The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air in 1991 at 47, embodying a polished, authoritative businessman. In reality, his life was far from stable. Though he had a steady career, he never achieved stardom, often stuck in minor roles that left him frustrated and unfulfilled. His romantic life was just as disappointing. His first marriage ended in a bitter divorce, and his second marriage collapsed when his wife left, taking their daughter and leaving him in emotional ruin. Struggling with loneliness, he turned to gambling, quickly amassing debt that drained his finances. His friends slowly distanced themselves as he became more reclusive, unable to cope with his mounting failures. He spent his final years in quiet obscurity, forgotten by the industry he had fought so hard to be part of. On September 13, 2009, he passed away at 65, the cause of death undisclosed, his departure barely acknowledged by the public. Gregory Sierra portrayed Hector in The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air in 1992 at 55, bringing humor and charm to his role. Best known for Sanford and Son and Barney Miller, Sierra had a respectable career, yet lasting fame always evaded him. His financial situation remained unstable. Despite years in the business, he struggled to secure roles in his later years. His personal life was no less tumultuous. His marriage fell apart due to constant infidelity and mistrust, leaving him estranged from his wife and children. As he aged, he found himself increasingly alone, grappling with regret over past mistakes. In his final years, he was diagnosed with cancer, a slow and painful battle that he endured with little support. Isolated and physically weakened, he passed away on January 4, 2021, at 83. His death was a quiet one, his legacy overshadowed by the brighter stars of his era, his final years marked by solitude and pain. Don Cornelius appeared as himself in The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air in 1994 at 58, bringing his iconic presence to the show. As the mastermind behind Soul Train, he was a cultural pioneer who gave black artists a platform, yet his own life was marked by darkness. Though professionally successful, his personal life was filled with turmoil. His marriage to Victoria Chapman ended in a bitter and publicized divorce, complete with allegations of domestic violence. Following a stroke, he suffered from a rare neurological disorder that caused excruciating pain and left him in a state of chronic depression. Once a man full of energy and charm, he became withdrawn, unable to find peace in the empire he built. His declining health and mounting isolation pushed him into a deep despair. On February 1, 2012, at 75, he tragically took his own life with a self-inflicted gunshot wound, his once bright legacy forever shadowed by the unbearable suffering that consumed his final years. Glenn Shadix played Ralph Scorpius in The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air in 1993 at the age of 41, bringing his signature eccentricity to the role. Best known for Beetlejuice, he struggled with typecasting, finding it difficult to secure diverse roles despite his immense talent. As an openly gay man in Hollywood during a time of rampant discrimination, he endured both professional and personal struggles. His long-term relationship ended painfully, leaving him heartbroken and isolated. He battled alcoholism, and a devastating car accident left him with chronic pain, further deepening his depression. Eventually, he moved back to Alabama to care for his ailing mother, retreating from the industry that had never fully accepted him. On September 7, 2010, he suffered a tragic fall in his home and died at the age of 58, alone and far from the spotlight he had once craved. Earl Boen played Ed in The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air in 1993 at the age of 52, portraying a sophisticated and authoritative figure involved in high-stakes situations. A respected character actor, he gained widespread recognition as Dr. Silberman in the Terminator franchise, but despite his early success, his later career dwindled, forcing him to rely on minor television roles and voice acting. His personal life was filled with heartbreak. His wife, actress Carol Keen, was the love of his life, but she succumbed to cancer, leaving him utterly devastated. They had no children, and after her passing, Boen withdrew from the public eye, living in solitude. His health took a tragic turn when he was diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer, a cruel disease that slowly robbed him of his powerful voice. As he battled the illness, he became increasingly frail, his once vibrant presence fading into isolation. On January 5, 2023, at 81, he passed away in Hawaii. Naya Rivera was just 6 years old when she played Cindy in The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air in 1993, showing early signs of the charisma that would later make her famous. She skyrocketed to stardom with Glee, but behind her success lay deep struggles. Her marriage to actor Ryan Dorsey was tumultuous, marked by fights and accusations, eventually ending in divorce. Though she adored her son, Josie, she battled depression and career disappointments as roles became scarce. Struggling to find stability, she sought refuge in her family, but the weight of her personal turmoil remained. On July 8, 2020, she took her son on a boating trip to Lake Piru, but tragedy struck when she drowned while saving him. Her body was recovered days later, and she was pronounced dead at the age of 33, leaving behind a grieving son and a career that ended far too soon. B.B. King played Pappy in The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air in 1995 at the age of 70, portraying a wise and compassionate figure who provided heartfelt advice. A legendary blues musician, he toured relentlessly for decades, performing thousands of shows, yet his personal life was far from stable. He married twice, but both marriages ended in divorce, and he reportedly fathered 15 children, many of whom later sued over his estate. Despite his wealth and fame, he spent his later years in financial uncertainty due to mismanagement and betrayal by those he trusted. His health deteriorated drastically. Diabetes led to blindness and severe nerve pain, rendering him unable to play the guitar that had been his lifeline. Isolated and in declining health, he became embroiled in a legal battle over his assets even as he lay dying. On May 14, 2015, at 89, he succumbed to complications of diabetes, his final moments clouded by pain, distrust, and a bitter dispute over his fortune. Tom Lister Jr. played Tiny in The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air in 1991 at 33, a humorous and lovable character who provided comic relief. Best known as Debo in Friday, he built a tough guy persona but struggled greatly in his personal life. Though married and father to a daughter, his relationships were turbulent, and his financial troubles only added to his burdens. He filed for bankruptcy, faced lawsuits, and found himself drowning in debt despite his past success. His health also took a sharp decline. Battling diabetes and high blood pressure, he struggled with complications that left him physically weak. In his final days, he became ill with COVID-19, which worsened his existing conditions. Isolated and unable to seek help in time, he was found dead in his home on December 10, 2020, at 62. His body left undiscovered for hours, an undignified and tragic end for a man who once loomed so large on screen. Who is your favorite character in The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air? How do you feel knowing that the actors have passed away? Feel free to leave your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this content, don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell so you don't miss future videos. Thank you so much.